Is it safe to travel to Rome? Imagine this. You're standing at the foot of the Spanish Steps, the scent of espresso and blooming jasmine in the air, ancient stones beneath your feet, and a city stretching out in every direction, layered with history, alive with voices, glowing in that golden Roman light. But instead of soaking it in, you're distracted by something else. The question that's been echoing across travel forums, headlines, and conversations this year. Is it still safe to travel to Rome? Stick around until the end of this video, because I'll share a surprising insight that even seasoned travelers might not know. Something that just might change the way you prepare for your Roman holiday. Now, before we dive in, let me say this up front. Rome is probably my favorite capital city in the entire world. I've visited more times than I can count, and every trip reveals something new. A tucked-away fountain, a perfect cacio e pepe, or a quiet piazza where time seems to stand still. It's a city that never stops giving. But like all great cities, it has its complexities. And in 2025, there are a few key factors to consider before you go. Let's start with the biggest current event shaping the experience of being in Rome this year: the Jubilee. Held once every 25 years, though sometimes more frequently for special occasions, the Jubilee is a holy year for the Catholic Church, and Rome is at the center of it all. Millions of pilgrims from around the world are expected to visit throughout 2025, particularly in the months around Easter, Christmas, and major feast days. That means more crowds, more traffic, more pressure on infrastructure, and yes, more opportunity for petty crime to occur if you're not paying attention. The Jubilee brings an incredibly spiritual and meaningful energy to the city. For many, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience to pass through the holy doors of St. Peter's Basilica or attend a papal mass. But it also means Rome is quite simply busier than ever. Major attractions like the Colosseum, the Vatican museums, and the Trevi Fountain are drawing record-breaking crowds. Lines are longer. Reservations are harder to secure. Streets are more packed than usual, and public transportation can feel stretched thin. For most travelers, this surge in visitors doesn't present a safety risk, but it does impact how you navigate the city. It heightens the need to plan ahead, to be patient, and to keep your belongings secure in tightly packed areas. Because with crowds come opportunists, and that leads us to the next key reality of travel in Rome: the minor tourist scams. Let me be clear. Rome is not a dangerous city in the traditional sense. Violent crime is rare, and major incidents involving tourists are even rarer. But what Rome does have, like many other heavily touristed European cities, is a well-developed ecosystem of petty scams designed to separate you from your euros, or at the very least, your attention. You may be approached by someone offering you a free bracelet, only to find yourself guilted into paying for it once it's on your wrist. Or a man may try to hand you a rose as a gift before demanding money in exchange. In some cases, pickpockets work in teams. One distracts you with a question, a bump, or a sudden gesture, while another lifts your phone or wallet. These scams don't happen in dark alleys. They happen in broad daylight, on the steps of the Pantheon, or just outside the Colosseum. They rely not on fear, but on speed and distraction. And while they're frustrating, they're also avoidable, especially if you know what to expect and keep your focus. One thing I always recommend is to stay aware in crowded areas and at major tourist hotspots. Use crossbody bags that zip securely, keep valuables in inner pockets, and don't engage with street vendors who seem unusually pushy. Most of the time, a polite but firm "no thank you" is all it takes. But not everything that catches you off guard in Rome is negative. Sometimes it's just physical. Because here's something they don't tell you in the glossy brochures. Rome is one of the most walkable cities in the world, but it will absolutely punish your feet if you're not prepared. The cobblestone streets, known as San Pietrini, are beautiful, historic, and distinctly Roman. But they're also uneven, worn, and sometimes downright treacherous if you're not wearing the right shoes. Add in narrow sidewalks, uneven curbs, and a lot of uphill walking, especially in neighborhoods like Trastevere or near the Janiculum Hill, and you'll quickly understand why comfortable, supportive footwear isn't just a convenience in Rome. It's a necessity. I've seen too many travelers limping by day 2, regretting their decision to wear stylish loafers or flimsy sandals. Rome is best explored on foot, There's simply no better way to absorb its magic. But you've got to be ready for it. The distances between sites aren't always huge, but the terrain is deceptively challenging. Trust me, pack for beauty, but prioritize function when it comes to your feet. Now let's talk about what the world's governments are saying about travel to Rome right now. Because while personal stories and lived experiences are important, it's also essential to know what the official advisories say. The United States Department of State currently places Italy at a Level 2 advisory. Exercise increased caution. The reasons cited are largely the same as in years past. Petty crime, particularly in high-traffic areas, and some potential for political demonstrations. There's no current threat from terrorism or civil unrest that would make Rome particularly unsafe, and the advisory doesn't suggest avoiding travel. Global Affairs Canada echoes that sentiment, advising Canadians to exercise a normal degree of caution while in Italy. They note that pickpocketing and purse snatching are common, especially at train stations, near landmarks, and on public transit. The UK's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office also highlights petty crime as the main concern for travellers. They advise British citizens to be mindful of their belongings, especially in and around Termini Station, on the metro, and in crowded places like the Vatican and the Colosseum. Importantly, they note that Italian authorities are well equipped and experienced in managing tourist safety, particularly during high-volume events like the Jubilee. Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade maintains similar guidance. Their advisory for Italy encourages a high degree of caution, but again, the focus is on theft, not physical danger. They recommend vigilance in crowded places and awareness around common scams, but make no suggestion that Rome is unsafe to visit. So what does all of this add up to? Rome is a city where the past and present exist side by side, where the ancient Forum sits beside a buzzing taxi stand, and a 1,000-year-old basilica might share a block with a gelato shop. It's a city of contradictions and beauty, where chaos is part of the rhythm, and safety is less about threat and more about thoughtful navigation. If you come to Rome prepared, mentally, physically, and practically, you're likely to have one of the richest travel experiences of your life. You'll see grandeur, feel awe, eat extremely well, and maybe, like me, find yourself spiritually moved by something unexpected, whether it's the silence inside a centuries-old church or the way the light catches on a fountain at dusk. And now, as promised, here's a little surprise you might not know. Despite the surge of visitors during Jubilee Year, Rome has just launched one of its largest ever security and infrastructure initiatives to accommodate and protect tourists in 2025. Thousands of additional police officers have been deployed to key sites. Multilingual tourist help stations have been installed across the city, and special Jubilee lanes have been established to manage crowd flow more effectively around the Vatican and other pilgrimage sites. In other words, Rome knew this year would be big, and they've prepared accordingly. So, is it safe to travel to Rome? Yes, if you travel with eyes open, wallet zipped, and shoes made for cobblestones. Rome isn't just safe, it's unforgettable. But it rewards the prepared, the curious, and the respectful traveler. I'm Stephen with the Travel Safety Network. With over 27 years of global safety experience, my mission is to help you navigate the world with confidence, clarity, and a touch of wonder. If this video helped you, give it a like, leave a comment about your own Roman experience, or ask a question. And don't forget to subscribe for more safety-first travel insights. Until next time, stay smart, stay safe, and keep walking forward. Even if the stones beneath your feet are a little uneven, Rome is worth every step.